HD over the scene on Deer Island in Boston where possible human remains were found. State police say someone found a bag full of bones that had washed ashore there.
7's John Hall is live on the scene with these breaking details. And John, what have you learned so far?
Hey guys, just minutes ago, in fact, within the past minute, we saw the state medical examiner's office arrive. They will be taking a look at these remains just up the road there. Police say it's possible they washed ashore, but they're not ruling anything in or out at this point, and state police will only say the remains are concealed in some way.
The DA's office confirms human remains were discovered about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Some Winthrop residents out to get some fresh air saw what was happening.
I just saw the body on the rocks with a sheet over it. A lot of detectives, a lot of police down there.
Donna Smith says she saw another middle-aged woman who made the gruesome discovery.
There was a woman walking her dog, and I believe the dog was brought to that site, running around in the rocks. And the girl went after where the dog was and saw something, so she went and called 911.
Police drove in and out of Deer Island as the investigation continued, but other people were not allowed to come in, and walkers already out there had to turn around and change their plans.
I just went halfway through and they closed off that side of the island, so I turned around.
Homicide detectives assigned to the Suffolk County DA's office are out there investigating, but so far there is no indication of what happened.
It's hard. It's so sad. It's really sad. It shouldn't happen anyways, especially in an area like this. I grew up right down the street.
Back live now, state police have set up a checkpoint here in the entrance to Deer Island. A pretty shot here. Nice view for the trooper, the whole city behind me, and Logan Airport as well. Deer Island is accessible only through Winthrop, but it is a part of the city of Boston. We're expecting some more information from state police shortly. We're live in Boston. I'm Jonathan Hall, 7 News.
We have some very disturbing details to pass along. According to sources, they're saying that these remains discovered there along Deer Island appear to be a child and appear to be that of a 2-year-old child, give or take a few there. The remains were discovered in a plastic bag by a woman who was out walking her dog earlier this afternoon. You can see investigators are going through the rocks and the sandy area there. We are expecting a news conference from investigators who are out at the scene right now. That could happen in our 5 o'clock hour, so keep it right here. Again, remains found, according to sources, appear to be that of perhaps a 2-year-old child. We'll keep you posted. Keep it right here on 7 News. At the Breaking News Desk, I'm Adam Williams.
7 News at 11 starts now. Tonight on 7. A mystery washes up in Boston.
I just saw the body on the rocks with a sheet over it.
It's so sad. It's really sad.
Now, details of this tragic find.
Investigators say the remains of a toddler washed up on that Boston Harbor island.
A woman walking her dog made this disturbing discovery this afternoon. The Night Team's Kimberly Bookman is in Winthrop now, live with the latest for us tonight. Kimberly?
Well, Adam, I can tell you at this hour, the road to Deer Island is closed as there is an active investigation on the beach, including canines.
This white tarp on Deer Island shoreline in Winthrop covers the body of a female toddler discovered there around 1 o'clock Thursday afternoon.
There was a woman walking her dog, and I believe the dog was brought to that site, running around in the rocks. And the girl went after where the dog was and saw something, so she went and called 911.
Sources tell 7 News the girl was wearing pajamas and was found inside a plastic bag. State police say they do not know the identity of the girl, her age or ethnicity, but they're talking to witnesses, looking for cameras and finding out about access to the area in order to explain how she ended up here.
Any information at all that we can learn as to either from the waterline or from the shoreline will be very helpful.
The Coast Guard has analyzed the water drifts from 24 and 48 hours ago to determine the direction the body could have come from. And canines, along with officers, have walked the beach combing for clues.
The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner has taken possession of the young girl's body, and we expect an autopsy to be done tomorrow.
They're also sharing the information with police both state and nationwide.
To notify them that we have recovered the body of a young female child and to let us know if there are any reports of missing children in their communities.
And police are also asking for the public's help. If you know of a missing child in your community, in your neighborhood, or one that you're concerned about, please call police. No tip is too small. Reporting live from Deer Island, Kimberly Bookman, 7 News 19.
This is 7 News at 4.
We'll start at 4 with breaking news and new details on a little girl found dead on Deer Island. Investigators releasing this computer-generated sketch of the victim. Detectives believe the little girl was around 4 years old.
And state police making another plea for anyone with information to come forward. 7 Cheryl Fiandaca live at the breaking news desk with the very latest.
Yeah, Liz, Adam, police are asking anyone with any information to come forward in this case. Now, this is a forensic artist's rendition of what the child may have looked like. They say she's about 4 years old, about 3.5 feet tall, 30 pounds. Investigators believe she's either Caucasian or Hispanic. They say she has brown hair and brown eyes. She was wearing these black and white polka dot pants that are like leggings when she was found. She also had this zebra striped blanket with her. Officials say both of these items could be clues in figuring out who she is. Now, the girl's body was found on Deer Island last Thursday. Police say she was in a plastic bag. An autopsy has been performed, but officials have not yet been able to determine the cause of death. And of course, their main goal at this point is trying to figure out exactly who this little girl is.
Our goal is to spread these images as far and as wide as we possibly can. And what we're appealing to now is perhaps a daycare provider, a preschool teacher, or a pediatrician, perhaps, who may have treated the child, or even wider than that, perhaps a shopkeeper, or people who regularly go to a park that she might have played at, who see a mother or a father or both, but the child is not around. So no bit of information should be considered too small if you have it.
And officials say with the upcoming holiday, there are extended family gatherings. You might notice that a child is missing or not there. And they're also concerned that these parents or caretakers or whoever may have had custody of this child may have had other children who could possibly be in danger. In the newsroom, Cheryl Fiandaca, 7 News.
The night team now on the desperate search for answers in the case of a little girl whose body washed up on a Boston Harbor island. Investigators released a new image of the 4-year-old. This case is now starting to get a lot of national attention. The night team's Kimberly Bookman live in Boston with more tonight. Kimberly.
Yeah, Adam, this is that updated image you're talking about. You can see authorities added earrings. It may seem like a small thing, but it could be a huge clue.
There is a growing mystery to
the discovery on Deer Island is going national. Now, network news broadcasts are sharing the story of the 4-year-old girl whose remains were found in a trash bag along the Massachusetts shoreline 2 weeks ago. This as the search to identify her intensifies.
All of this is going to take time to run through fingerprint and DNA databases, but this is a highly solvable case.
As of Thursday, this computer-generated image of what the girl might have looked like got 50 million views online. The Center for Missing and Exploited Children created the picture using details from her body along with facial features from stock photos.
The center is very good at making these computer printouts, and they have been very accurate. I think that when we find out who this girl is, it'll be pretty uncanny how much she looked like the girl that we're looking for.
And now the medical examiner's office says the child had her ears pierced, updating this computer sketch with earrings, hoping that new information may spark clues.
Lots of people are calling in with tips and leads, and we want that to continue. With that information, we're going out there and we're checking on the welfare of a lot of children.
The girl was also wearing polka dot leggings and had a zebra print blanket with her.
We need to find out who she is, bury her with the dignity she deserves, and find out who killed her and who threw her away like a piece of garbage.
And authorities say at last check, they have done 24 child welfare checks. They still don't know who this little girl is. Reporting live from Deer Island, Kimberly Bookman, 7 News 19.
Also on 7, investigators hoping a tip will come as they work to identify a child whose remains were found on Deer Island nearly 3 weeks ago. They announced an easy way today to notify authorities anonymously if you have any information about this little girl. 7's Byron Burnett is live in Winthrop to explain. He has the numbers for us and the latest information. Byron?
Well, authorities say they're just one tip away from learning the identity of the little girl who was found dead here on Deer Island. So they've opened up 2 new means of communication for anyone who has information.
After chasing down hundreds of tips, police still don't know the name of this little girl.
Someone knows her. We know that for whatever reason,
You have not come forward yet. But surely you know the right thing to do.
There have been more than 53 million views of this computer-generated image on Facebook. She's the 4-year-old girl whose lifeless body was found on Deer Island 3 weeks ago. Now police have set up 2 new ways for people with information to call in tips. A state police text a tip number. Text the word girl and your tip to the number 67283, or call a new 24-hour phone line, 617-396-5655.
And we also would ask the community members that have been so kind and compassionate to come forward to continue to talk about this case on Facebook, on Twitter, with the hopes that we will find this girl's name out.
The little girl was found in a plastic bag wearing polka dot leggings with a zebra print blanket. Cause of death still not known. The Suffolk DA says he wants to identify the girl so she doesn't have to be buried anonymously. But he says there's another important reason to find out who she was.
If this girl's parent or caregiver was unwilling or unable to seek help when she died, then any other children in that household are also at risk. We need to know who this little girl was, but we also have to make sure that no other children are harmed.
Now, the DA says he also wants to assure any tipster that they can all remain anonymous. That's Story Live in Winthrop. I'm Byron Barnett, 7 News.
All right, Byron, let's find out about this little girl. Who is she? And here again the numbers for you. You can text the word girl to 67283. You can include your tip there as well. Or you can call 617-396-5655. Leave any information, anything at all that you think might help investigators. This is on our website as well, and again, it's all anonymous.
7 News at 11 starts now.
First at 11, investigators still searching for answers while a community comes together to mourn a 4-year-old girl found dead on a Deer Island beach.
This computer-generated picture of the girl has now gone viral, getting millions of views. But tonight, the girl's identity is still a mystery.
A vigil held in her memory earlier tonight, demanding justice for the young girl. The night team's Kelly O'Hara is live on Deer Island with what happened tonight. Kelly?
Yeah, good evening. You can still see the lights flickering in the distance. Hundreds of people came out tonight to remember and honor this little girl known as Baby Doe, but they say her name is unacceptable. They are demanding justice, and they say they want her name to be known.
7 News at 11 starts now, tonight on 7. Who is this little girl? Now, the night team travels across the country for a look inside the investigation. You'll see on just one station.
Certainly is a heartbreaking mystery. A young girl's remains found on Deer Island months ago, and police still have no idea where she is.
But tonight, investigators in the Baby Doe case are turning to a Utah lab and a special kind of testing. 7's Cheryl Fiandaca got an exclusive look at what's being done right now to try to solve this case.
This is Baby Doe's tooth enamel here.
Could this tiny shaving from a tooth finally help investigators figure out who this little girl is? The tooth enamel, along with several strands of hair, are being analyzed at a Utah lab and could finally solve the mystery of where Baby Doe was living before she died.
Generally in investigations, this is a last resort. They've hit a dead end. They've probably run fingerprints if they were available. They've probably already looked at DNA but had no DNA matches in any database that exists.
It's been about 2 months since the toddler's body was found on Deer Island in Winthrop. We know she was wearing polka dot leggings and was wrapped in a zebra blanket, but we still don't know who she is.
The autopsy does not reveal at this point the cause of her death.
With no strong leads, police are now turning to isoforensics.
Scientists in the Salt Lake City lab are analyzing little pieces of evidence in the Baby Doe case.
Evidence that could predict where Baby Doe may have been in the years and weeks before her body was found.
She has very long hair. There are basically 2 or 3 years worth of growth. That's really the crucial period of time. What was happening in those few months just before death? This is the isotope variation.
Scientists Scientists at the lab showed us how specific environmental elements can be found in teeth and hair based on where you live.
We are basically little tape recorders walking around and recording information about what we eat and what we drink. And we just basically take that information back out again and say something about your history.
It's a tedious process that takes weeks. Millimeters of hair are wrapped in pure silver capsules and heated until they turn into a gas. The gas is then analyzed by this machine called a mass spectrometer, which spits out numbers like you see on this computer screen.
And this is the hydrogen gas that was formed from baby doe's hair.
The numbers don't mean anything until they're compared with maps showing where the chemical elements in baby doe's teeth and hair would most likely be found.
So the tooth will give us about 2 or 3 years ago. So where was she living? And does that match anything that we potentially see in the hair? We don't know until we see the data.
Data that the district attorney hopes will help them learn baby doe's real name.
She deserves to have her identity known to the public, and she deserves the kind of dignified burial of any human being.
When I was talking to Leslie in the lab about the baby doe case, she told me she didn't want to know the details of the police investigation. She says not being emotionally involved lets her be objective and lets the science lead her to the clues police need. She expects to have results ready for police as early as next week. In the newsroom, I'm Cheryl Fiandaca, 7 News.
We have another breaking story that we are following now. New information in the baby doe case. New test results now in the hands of local investigators.
Get right to 7. Cheryl Fiandaca with the latest on what we know. Cheryl?
Yeah, we've just learned that the Salt Lake City lab analyzing the evidence in the baby doe case has forwarded those test results to investigators. Now, last week we showed you how the lab was testing baby doe's hair and tooth, hoping to learn where she lived in the weeks and months before she died. Late yesterday, scientists at the lab forwarded a draft report to police. The report now could lead police to new areas to search for information on baby doe. The little girl's body was found on Deer Island in June. Autopsy results did not show the cause of death, and police are asking for the public's help to help identify the toddler. Now, this information could help police learn more about where she was in the weeks and months before she died and then concentrate their efforts in that area. As for the actual lab results, well, the lab says that will be up to the police to release. In the newsroom, I'm Cheryl Fiandaca, 7 News.
All right, 9:13, and we have some breaking news to pass along to you right now. It's concerning baby doe, the girl believed to be roughly 4 years old, whose body was found on Deer Island, a beach there, back on June 25th. New information on this, and here's 7 Cheryl Fiandaca with the latest. Cheryl?
Yes, police have been able to identify the little girl. Last night they executed a search warrant. Detectives and troopers from the Norfolk County DA's office and the Suffolk County DA's office executed a search warrant late last night in Mattapan. And as a result of that, they've been able to identify baby doe. Now, it's unclear what the charges might be or could be in this case because, as we know, the autopsy did not show a cause of death.
This is 7 News at noon.
And we begin here with breaking news this afternoon. Sources telling 7 News that baby doe has now been identified. They also tell us police are focusing on at least 2 people in this case right now. So we do know that they focused on an apartment building on Maxwell Street in Dorchester where a search warrant was executed last night. And sources are also telling us police are questioning a woman believed to be the mother of baby doe. And we do have Team 7 coverage.
That's right. So we want to get started, first of all, with our Cheryl Fiandaca, who's live for us in the newsroom. Cheryl, you have a lot of new information right now. What can you tell us?
We do. Now, sources say that police got the tip after the mother of baby doe told someone about her death. Now, that person, in turn, told police. So late yesterday, state police executed a search warrant at Maxwell Street in Dorchester. Now, that's believed to be the last place that baby doe was living. Now, police are talking to her mother and her new boyfriend, who voluntarily went with police this morning. A previous boyfriend is in a Boston hospital, and he is believed to have been in the child's life at the time of her death. Now, all of this is still unfolding. This is still a very, very fluid investigation. But at this point, police believe that they know the identity of baby doe. Her name is Bella, and she was almost 3 when when she died. Her body found on Deer Island in late June. She was found in a plastic bag. Autopsy results did not show a cause of death. Now, the medical examiner's office is working to positively identify the child because in Massachusetts, that has to be done by a medical examiner.
As we told you, a search warrant was executed late last night in Dorchester.
And 7's Steve Cooper is out there. He's been talking to people, hearing what they have to say, what they witnessed, and here he is with that part of the story. Steve, what have you heard?
Well, Krista, as you can imagine, there's just an awful lot of shock here, and there's an awful lot of sadness here, and there's just a lot of residents who live actually in this 6-unit apartment here where they believe Baby Doe is living, and this is where police executed that search warrant. Now, residents who live here tell us that she hasn't been seen around here since maybe in May, and they were unclear where she was, but they thought that perhaps she may have moved out of the area, and then suddenly yesterday, investigators arrived on the scene.
As we've been reporting for months now, there has been a huge effort to figure out who this little girl was. They were searching, they posted billboards, her image was online.
Right, seen some 60 million times by people all across the world even. The district attorney's office obviously very involved in this case. 7's Nancy Chen is live at the DA's office right now to give us more about on what they're saying at this hour. Nancy?
Good afternoon to you both. We're waiting for an update right now from District Attorney Dan Connolly. His office, in the meantime, would only say that their investigation is active.
Baby Doe's remains were found back in June, and right now, 7's Nicole Oliverio is on Deer Island.
That's right. She joins us now live from there with more from that area. Nicole?
Well, keep in mind, this is where that little girl was found, and so many people have come. They've been holding memorials here for that little girl, trying to do whatever they can, grassroots efforts, sending out flyers to try and figure out who she was and who may know her. Now, if you see right behind me, you may see these blue balloons and flowers and benches. This is the memorial site for that little girl. Today was the day that the MWRA plant, who sort of adopted this little girl, was actually dedicating a bench and a tree to her. The same day, just hours after it was discovered she had been identified.
Now on just one station.
I said to myself, she looks like Bella. But we weren't sure.
Members of Bella Bond's family speaking to 7 News. We heard from the man who says he's Bella's father as well as that little girl's grandmother.
7's Brendan Gano caught up with them. He's live in Lynn with the interview you'll only see right here.
Ryan and Liz, I spoke to that family and they are devastated. The man claiming to be Bella's biological father said he and Bella's mother were staying at his mother's house here in Lynn last night, and police arrived this morning.
I felt it. I felt it within myself that something wasn't right and that I needed to come up here and handle some business to find out what was going on.
The man claiming to be the biological father of Bella Bond said he returned to Massachusetts in August, worried about the safety of his little girl, and that he doesn't believe the girl's mother, Rochelle Bond, had anything to do with it.
I know with all my heart that Rochelle Bond would never, ever do anything to hurt anybody. And I was with the woman and it's the mother of my child.
Joe Amoroso said state police questioned him in the morning about what he knew and what Bella's mother had told him. Amoroso had been in Florida for the last few years. Bella's grandmother, Patricia Quinn, says she hasn't seen her granddaughter since 2013, so she wasn't positive that the picture was Bella.
I said to myself, she looks like Bella. But we weren't sure, you know, and it's a shock. I feel as if I'm dreaming, you know, like a nightmare.
That there's a lot of people out here that do care, and somewhere in my heart I'm gonna have to find forgiveness, and that time will come.
Now, that man claiming to be Bella's biological father said he wanted to thank everyone in this community and really everywhere for everything they've done and all the support they have shown. We're live in Lynn. I'm Brandon Gano, 7 News.
7 News at 11 starts now. Tonight on 7. Her name is Bella.
This child, whose very name means beauty, was murdered.
The mystery of Deer Island's Baby Doe solved.
Now, we will give her justice.
Her mother behind bars.
This is not the end of this case. It's the beginning.
The night team covering the big break in the months-long case of Baby Bella.
It's been months, and finally some answers. We now know the name of the little girl found on Deer Island.
And tonight, police say her mother's boyfriend is the killer, and her mother helped cover it all up. Investigators crediting a crucial call from a tipster that led them to this Dorchester home. Detectives followed the clues to Lynn, where they say they found Bella's mother.
Now investigators are focused on getting justice for Bella and bringing this months-long case to a close. We have a team of reporters covering every angle in Boston, Dorchester, Lynn, and on Deer Island. We start with the night team Cheryl Fiandaca, who's been tracking all the day's developments.
Yeah, Ryan, we now know Bella's death was violent. Sources say the 2.5-year-old was punched in the stomach by her mother's boyfriend, who's charged with killing her, and her mother is accused of helping to cover it up.
It has taken 85 days for investigators to finally get some answers in this case. The gruesome discovery in late June sparking an investigation that gained attention worldwide. It was back on June 25th when we first heard of Baby Doe. Someone walking their dog on Deer Island made the disturbing discovery. Her lifeless body was found in a plastic bag. Investigators desperate to identify her.
If this girl's parent or caregiver was unwilling or unable to seek help when she died, then any other children in that household are also at risk. We need to know who this little girl was, but we also have to make sure that no other children are harmed.
State police creating this computer-generated image of the brown-haired, brown-eyed girl, asking anyone for help. It was viewed around the world, more than 60 million hits on Facebook alone. More than 80 billboards went up across the state. Investigators tracked down 200 girls just to make sure they weren't Baby Doe. Her DNA sent to labs in Texas and Utah to help find any clue. The results, she was most likely from this area. For 85 days now, strangers visiting Deer Island to build a memorial and hold vigils for a little girl they didn't know but wanted to help rest in peace.
She didn't deserve to be dumped here like trash. You know, it's just a shame. And it's hard not to shed a tear for her.
Count on 7 News for continuing coverage of this case. We've created a special section for the Baby Doe investigation on our website, and you can also watch the full news conferences from the district attorney, governor, and more. It's all on WHGH.com.